I'm not actually in the realm. Welcome, 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 welcome. I only have 2 words to actually say right now. But when you ever heard of you have to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Well, just the words whole truth, okay? In French, if you read the word truth, but you don't finish the word, as though almost it was written, but you can't read the last 2 letters, well, that truth would say trou, which means a hole in French, okay? It means a hole. So with the whole truth means a hole in a hole. And they were always directing that to God, so it's a hole in a hole to God, Area 55. The other thing I want to tell you is that if I met you and you met me and we spoke, I will hear what you will tell, but what I would know would only be my truth and different from your truth. The same thing as what you hear from me would be my truth. What you would hear would be the story heard and the story told, and then the truth between the story. Now, if the 2 people looked at themselves together, they would have their 2 truths that would come together that would create one whole truth. So that would automatically make 7 total. You come up with 7 different stories in order to create the truth. And in all actuality, that's all you're allowed. Do you know why? Because you yourself, in your own, in this world, the story is this world, it's 2 all the time. Anyways, we're going to jump off to so many things. If I tell you number 90, well, it equals to 1/4, because 90 degrees of 360 is 1/4. If I tell you 25, well, 25 is 1/4 of a dollar. So you see, each has its relevance. So now what I would have to do is, because I know where the 25 comes from, now I can use it on the 160-degree angle. And also, I can use the 90, okay, where the quarter came from in the dollar. In order to get 90, you need 9 times 10 cents, okay? All the same value coin. If you need 25, you only need 1/4, okay? If you need to make your change with more than 2, it means you used more than the 2 dice in life, okay? Then you were on to a 3rd story, the story of the action of the verb, the truth, what is material, ballistic. Anyways, there's so many things. I mean, you play the piano. Oh, I like the tune. I like the note. You go to the bank. Have you got a note for me? Do I have a note? Or is it a bank note? So much for it rhyming with throat. The other thing I was going to say is facing the 7 world. There's so many ways to do it, okay? On dice, there are 3 ways to face the 7 worlds, right? But in cards, okay, there's 3 ways to face the 7 worlds, and there's 1 card that expresses the 7 world. So the 7 world can be done on dice as well as in the cards, where the 7 is the representation. 7 to a 10-10 world is 3, and then all of a sudden you start to have a new equation. Okay, so if we want to go to the 7 worlds, it's A and F, it's B and E, breaking and entering, something we all know, it makes sense. It's the 2nd and the 5th letters, 2 and 5, to do with the Mayans, 25, 625, and the 52 years. It's not 52 years, okay? I seem to understand that it should be 50 years because it's compact in 10, but it's only 49 years in this world because of the hump, where you add up the A letter, because what happens is you go all the way around. It's hard to explain. You go starting in January and going back to January, you have touched January twice. Okay, so this is the 10 world. The 7 world is part of pi. Now I mixed myself up because when I start having to explain it without showing you on paper, you have to think of it, and we separate our time. Anyways, the seven worlds. Okay, the reason there's not 9 is because there is 9. It's that energy that keeps you alive. While you're standing up, you're getting the north-south energy. While you're lying down and sleeping, you're getting the east-west energy. 2 different energies. One is for the sleep of the night. Okay, but if you sleep during the day, that's okay also. But your whole system will be completely different. It'll be almost like you live in another country, and you don't actually live where you are. So you've changed yourself. The 10 world consists of 192837, okay? But the 10 world, okay, in dice or in a cube can only exist on 4 and 6 and 5 and 5. It cannot exist anywhere else. There is a third dice. In fact, there's many dice, but one of the third dice is the spirit dice. And that one is put on number 5 all the time, because 5 connects to the 4 corners of God and the heart. And man has the 4 corners and the heart plus the 2 sides, but the 2 sides are his hands are the 2 sides. He's in between the north-south energy from his head and down his ass. You know, man has 2 tails. The other tail ends in his head, in the cordial, or whatever you want to call it. The other one is the other extension of his ass. Now, we can say they're both completely different. No. One is the other end of something else. It's just like if you were looking forward as number 6 and you were looking towards number 4, which way is number 4 looking? They're looking back to back at each other, number 6 and 4. Did you know that? I'm gonna try and show you. Now 6 and 4. I didn't think of this before. It's going to be very hard to do this, but I'm going to do it the way it is. Can you see it? If you draw this properly, now I don't do this very often, but if I would put this on top of this, the 4 would disappear. But if I would put a 1 and a 6 together, this is you get for a 1 and a 6. 86 it ends up to be. If you use the line, if you only had a choice to use this line on one side and I use it on the left side, right, I would chop off the top part of this 6, and this egg would now have a hat on it. If you take a look at it just like this, there's a cross that's created. Don't forget, you're going to look at it levels like this, then levels like this, and then you're going to use the 45-degree angle. Why the 45-degree angle? Because the 45-degree angle, the pitch, okay, doesn't only get it at the top, it gets it at the bottom. It's in between the 45 and 90. The 90 is just like exactly standing straight up, except it's sideways. Because don't forget, I always told you, now it's 90, now it's 45, now it's 90. Although I made the complete, this is actually 45. It's here or here. It's the same movement. Or the movement is here and here. It's the same movement. But what if I always kept everything on an angle? Okay? What if everything was like a little bit on an angle? And you're on a slant besides that. And between your eyes and the back of your head, there's a cross, right? They always say watch out at the cross, because crossing the street is dangerous when the mind starts to cross the street onto the other side. The other side where you want to be involved in the reality of the difference, where you want to seek out the truth because you know something else is there. Once you have awakened from within your mind, to seek the truth is very important. That's why a lot of religions seek the truth. And I'm not sure because I'm in the Jewish religion, but I'm an Indian, of course. But I'm not really sure if I'm an Indian, but a cousin let me know there's a chance I'm an Indian. And you know what's funny about my family? I look up Zaritsky. It says it's about 400 years old, and it says it's been all over the world. And I never heard my mother talk about her grandfather. And when he passed away, my mother was almost 17 years old. Okay, or 16. She had to know him if they were a poor family. My grandfather was poor forever. Everything I look up under the name Zazareth, Free the Myth of Zazareth, he ends up in New York, being the head of associations, putting things together, also known in associations of the Mad Hatter. And since it's the Mad Hatter, and he's my grandfather, and it is Free the Myth, okay, of the reality of our creation, again, it shoves a little notch, makes a little mark, that now somehow there is this great myth that we spread across the globe, and one day some of us, or one of us, or all of us will come forward, not only with themselves, but because we're spread across the globe, we are all going to connect to this Takpan's fever, in which it's all going to unite humanity. And Zaritsky actually means, in letter count and breakup, king of the sky, king of the heavens, LEROI. the one who runs the underground, the one who runs in the valley, because in French, valet is a jack. If you say valet, the last two letters, a three-letter, are to let me out. Lettel, to tell. It is also et, so in Free the Myth of Zazareth, et is the end of Fremeth, my name. Free the myth, free the people, the myth. Et, extraterrestrial, Earth time. We're running on Earth time, right? But are we on Earth? We certainly are. Went outside today, took off my shoes, stuck my toe in the ground. I got something between my toe, brought that piece of shit in, looked at it. Oh, that was doggy crap. I thought we were on Earth. Stuck my toe in doggy crap. What do you think they want us to pick up the dog shit for right now? Because that's where we are. We're on the dog planet. We're not on Earth. If we were on Earth, okay, we have to say it differently. Earth backwards is a tear. Why do we have to say Earth backwards? Because God and dog are backwards, okay? Look at all the frontward and backward things, and you'll see which side we're actually on. We can't be God, we must be the opposite. 6 is opposite of 4. 4 totals a 60 count, was it the exact count of God 4, or 10 God, or Jack God. 60-40. Earth. H-T-R-A-E. What would that mean? You know Earth. You know Earth. Earth, rabbit. Earth, rabbit, heart. Earth, rabbit, and heart all have a letter count of 52. And the Mayan cycle. Mayan cycle. But it's not really 52, okay? It could be 49, okay? Plus 1 is the year of the connection from this year to next year, because the minute you overlap one part of the year, it already counts for that year. You know what I'm saying? In horses, apparently, at a certain time in the year, everybody's age change, regardless of, you know what I'm saying? I mean, the year begins. So rabbit hole, the hole of the rabbit, 8, 23, 30, 35 equals 40. Can you believe that? We play in the Monopoly game of 40, and rabbit hole, the hole means 40. So it associates the two words. And HT, if I put Earth backwards, there's HTR. In Earth, there's 2 vowels, 1 and 5. Okay? There's the R, which is the 19th. There's the T, which is the 20th, and there's the H, which is the 8th. There are 3 numbers from the first 9, 1, 9, and 8, okay, or in the first one. But Earth is A and E. Earth starts off with A and E. A and E is 1 and 5. The 15th letter, those two digits together say 15. That is the Omega egg. Then the R is the angel residence, and then TH is time, heaven. It can also be not only time heaven, but the second world heavens, because it's 20 and 8. And anyways, it ends up to be 821, 82115, which 82115 is what the Earth says. It does it up to 52 at the end. But in this order, it shows you the 114 volts in order to run your computer. And 1, 1, and 5 is actually 1, 3, and 5. But they're all put it within one number. Why do I say 1, 3, and 5? Because there are 3 numbers in a row. If I use them together, I use only the odd numbers. If I use them apart, I'll skip numbers. Anyways, it goes 82, which is heaven sent, okay, of 1 and 5. This is what Earth says. Heart says the same thing. And in all of this, in Earth, that's 52, and rabbit, that's 52. Ear is the ear of the rabbit, okay? And the ears of the rabbit, okay, equals to 24. Plus the rabbit equals 52. The total, the ear plus the rabbit, equals 76. What 76 means is 7 of odd and 6 of even, because there's a guy on the outside protecting this world on both sides. That's why he has the 1 extra. And that's the spirit of 76, because in the first 13 letters of the alphabet, 7 are odd and 6 are even. Mostly anything you end up in words. If it's an even number, it's usually female related. If it's odd, it's mostly male. 2468 is female, 1379 is male, and the 5 is actually both, because in this world, the 5 is the heart of man, as far as I know it. It's right here. It's his sun. It's in his solar plex. Heart solar. So what are we at next? We've done this. And there's a lot of other things. Hey, you're my right arm man. Also connected to the Bible. Anyways, I was getting on to things with certain numbers, okay? And I was talking about 45 just a couple of minutes ago. 45 is halfway between this 90 degree and that 90 degree, okay? 45 is between this side and that side of 90 degree. I do not understand the totality. All I know is it has to do with the sacrificed lamb. Why? Because east-west, which faces each other, as well as, because east is sniffing west's ass, okay? And then if you go the other way, west is sniffing east's ass, okay? E and W is the sacrificed lamb. North and south, snow, 19 plus 14, 33. That's why I say snow is the Christ connection, because S and N total 33, and O and W are woe for woman equals 38, and that's the 3 parts of the 8 heaven. I guess the 3rd part is the woman, because that's it. The total of that is 71. Okay, 71 or 17. The 17th letter is the Q. And right on I was with the answer, because the numbers match, like I just said. 3 and 8 are the heavens. 3 and 3 is the command and create. And you total them together, it gives 71, the Q. And it also gives you the Z in the single digit, which is 6 and 2, which is who we become. Number 2, 2 world, 6 man. I mean, because if we're in the 2 world, right, every corner is 2. So if I said go to 2, what would you say to me? Which 2? So I want you to go to 2. That's a 4. I want you to go to 2. That's a 6. 4, 1, and 7 on your telephone are very different from all the other numbers. 2 and 5 are very the same. 6 and 9 are very the same. 7, okay, with 7 you can go around the world cutting every single degree because of the 7. The 7 creates the flat back of the way the N is created. But anyways, I'm not into too many. Simon says. Simon has a count of 70. Says means 16. What does Simon say? Simon is God. But says, okay, as in a letter count of S-A-Y-S, okay, is a total count of 19, 38, 39, 49, 59, 64. Simon says 64, 70, 64. Simon says. And 70, 64 means the digital man and the gates, digital man and God. So Simon says, digital man do this and digital man does that. The other thing I get out of here, as Simon says, is to seize something. And in French, size. The word size, it means 16, okay? But the word to seize something, the word to seize, right? It sounds like T-W-O. So instead of just saying 16, sweet 16, it's 216, which is part of the 10 Commandments, which is part of the 613 laws of Moses, which is part of the sleeping order. How many hours you will be awake in 10 days will be 216 hours awake, 24 hours to God, 144 awake, 96 asleep, totaling 216 total, and then the 24 hours to God. In a 10-day period, man, okay, goes to God for 100. Am I going to get this right? Let me see this. Man goes to God. Hold on. 24 and 72 is 96. 240. 240. Out of 10 days, man is awake for 144 hours. He's asleep for 72 hours. And he prays to God for 24. So he has 144 awake, 96 asleep, plus the 24 hours of God. The total is 240. But it originates from 2 to who says. Just the phrase. That's all. And not only that, 6, 1, and 2 equals 9, and it is the birth. How did the birth come about? What the principles were. The principle was 1A father, 2B mother, and created the 6. We don't have to say he's a birth. Hey, look at a kid. Oh, he was born. He's standing up in front of you. He's living. He's alive. He's a 6. When was he born is another thing. When is he going to be born is something else. But he's born standing in front of you and talking to you. Chalava. Never mind, we didn't finish the 7 worlds yet, in which the first vowel that gets to the 7 worlds, okay, is the letter A and the letter F. F is the 6th letter, and A is the one vowel. E and B is next. E and B is some sort of bisexual thing because it's almost like the pedal boat on the lake. You know what I'm saying? While one goes up, one's a 5, one's a 2. So E and B get together. So between the first two, 1, 2, 5, and 6, we get A, F, E, B. What do we get? A, F, E, B. B, E, A, F. This is what we get. Are you still there with me? You see what we get? A and F, 1 and 6 is 7. E and B, 2 and 5 is 7. Write it down. It says beef. Where's the beef? It's all simple little coincidences that sound funny, that look stupid, that actually match, which is stupid because sometimes we couldn't see it. But then when you realize, when it goes with numbers, and then I add up these numbers, and they total 14, where's the beef? And that's the passage, my friends. 1, 4. Where's the beef, my friends? You want to know what where's the beef is? Because that 2 of 7 and 7, A and F and E and B is a total of 14. Where's the beef? Is the beef that does this job. Do you know where 1, 4 is? That's the center of Rubik's Cube. Somebody's got to turn those tiles around. Where's the beef to move those tiles? Then again, we go on from that. Okay, we'd end up with 3 and 4 next to make the 7. Okay, the last 7. But 3 is a consonant, and 4, okay, is also a consonant. But 3 is special, okay, because 3 can be made with the letter U. 21st letter, 2 and 1 is 3, okay. But 3 and 4, the 3 number is a corner number on your telephone. So now you can use the 3, but instead of using it with C and D, you use the 3 with U and A. Excuse me, not with U and A, with U and D, or U and M, because M is the 13th, excuse me, yeah, U and M. M is the 13th letter, 1 plus 3 is 4. We're just trying to create 7s, okay? And we have to find mathematical or logical ways that everybody in this world would say, oh, that's a good way to do it. So we find these equations on how to create something in order to go. Don't forget, when you build a house, right, you got to build that ground floor really, really wide if you want to go really, really high in this world, of course. Unless they design a world, okay, half like the Olympic Stadium in Montreal, where they have this elevator shaft that's on an angle, and it's actually being held up, okay, by 4 sides off the ground. You can do it on the ground, okay, with a very small statue, but it's built off the ground, held up like a beehive. Can you imagine that? If your house was like this, being held like this, off the ground like this. Hey, look at my house. The wind is blowing. My house is shaking. No, and on the ground, the same thing. You'd have 8 or 10 different things, but you wouldn't be on the ground. That house will be erected. That house will be erected. Everything that's exciting and new gets up. Now, We had where's the beef in the 7 worlds. Now, the reason for pi is because it's the 7 worlds, okay? We're not into pool yet, okay? Because the reason for the 9 world, the 10 worlds comes out of the game of pool in 9 ball. Because the 10th ball is the cue ball you use to hit the other 9 balls. But when you put the 7 world and 10 world together, what has happened is you have taken out 3 from the 10 worlds. That's where we get the pi starting part of pi of creation. You separate that 3 because inside that 10 worlds, that 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, one of them is never there because it's in the other world. It's in your world or the other world. And when one is missing, there's 3 missing. Why? One of the reasons is the center pin that's in the other world is not the one in your world. And the other world, the 2 and 6, is not in your world. And it's something to do with the connection, either the way we walk or I'm not really into looking into that right now. I may have the answer, I may not. So the 10 world, what happens now is because pi comes out of 3.141592, now we have to remove in the 10 world 3.1492 and whatever. At a certain point, we're going to break off those decimals in pi, and pi ends. The only reason pi ends is because in this world, it's not that pi is going outward. It's going inward from both sides inside 10, shrinking 10. Now this is a hypothesis. Shrinking 10, making 10 into a 7, and now whatever the 3 that's missing is the sky and the center of the earth. This is one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is to run pi from 10, 9, 8, 7, move the sides from 10 over to 7, okay, and now the 1.1 part keeps going in here and hitting the wall and going around and around and around till the spiral breaks and makes a new spiral and goes around and around and around. Or, okay, pi runs down from, you can't make 6.25 off of a dice, so you take either the first number, the second number, the third number in pi, and you go like this. 0.1 is a relevancy of a total of 10. 0.2 is a relevancy, two numbers written down is a relevancy of 2 positions, 3 numbers, 4 positions, and you do all the way up to 10 positions. Then you can stop. You don't have to go no more, okay? Because pi is only about what man is birth and his life and then his death and his continuous on, and we don't know the continuous on. So the numbers in pi that people don't understand is that 8 and 6 in pi can actually mean the same thing. One of the reasons for it, because in a 2 dice world, 4 and 4, right, calculated to a 7 world is 3 and 3. Is that correct? 3 and 3 is 6. 6 reflects 8. 5 reflects 9. 4 reflects 10. How does 4 reflect 10? You have to be able to do this on dice cubes. 6 and 4 is 10. The reflection of 10 is 4. How do we do it? 6 onto 7 is 1. And 4 onto 7 is 3. 3 and 1 equals 4. You hear what I said? 6 and 1 is 7. 3 and 4 is 7. 3 and 4 is 7. Okay, because you had a 6 and 4 dice. So the 4 dice to make 7 is 3. 6 dice to make 7 is 1. 3 and 1 is 4. They all reflect each other. So when you look in pi and see a 4 and a 10, but you can't see a 10 because it's a 0, it screws you up to start with. 0 and 4 go together. Why do 0 and 4 go together? Because 5 and 8 go together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have to surround the 8 ball. Okay? Because it's part of the world. And it's 4 and 4 would make an 8 ball. Not sure where I'm going with this next. What makes what? What makes what? Oh yeah, we were in the 7 world. So what else in the 7 world? So anyways, if you take away those parts of pi, not only that in pi, the other things that are created in pi is if you ever hit 3 7s in a row, it's an explanation of the 10 numbers that was just before it. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you get three numbers in a row, excuse me, if you get four numbers in a row, okay, it's a complete expression of the two worlds and no, it's a complete expression of both worlds combined into one, because it's 3 out of 4, not 4 out of 4. 4 out of 4 tells you both stories in both houses. It's like the four-headed shin, the two-sided chin. 66 and 66 when added together equals 132. So ABC instead of ABC comes ACB. So you see how the 6 and 6 world is actually the same thing as being just one world. L and M, how they fit together is the 12th and 13th letter, totals 25, which is 1/4, which is the next part of the explanation of the 7 world, the 10 world, and the world of the quarter. The world of 20 is 2 10-cents. They don't have 20 cents and change here in Canada. Don't forget, this is based off of what my mind sees, what I see, okay? The other thing I like to say is, you ever hear of the initials J and R? Well, it's the total of 28, which explains this world, right? Which is Jack and King, which is the resident angel, the R card. Well, if you put it together, both letters have their initials sound alike as the A. So instead of saying JR, you would just have to say Jar. Or together you can say Raja, Raja, Raja. Very, very high. It explains of this earth. The angel of the earth. The Jack, the angel, the one of the earth. The Queen and King also have a total of 25. And L and M have a total of 25. And there's just so many things I can get into. Anyways, for now, the B and the bear. If you say B, it's B-E. If you say the letter R, the sound is A-R. If you put the B with the R, you got a bear. The bear sleeps part of the winter. There's missing a winter spirit. We only got 90 days. We don't always have 92 days. Because if we had 91 days in every season, we'd have 364. Then one season gets 365. Now, I forgot about the winter season of how many days, but I keep coming up with a different answer all the time. So we're not going to talk about that. The other thing I want to talk about right now is 25, and I'm going to go through it quick. Just using the vowels, because God owns all the vowels, all the decisions of sounds, right? A and X is 25, E and T is 25, I and P is 25, O and J is 25, and J and O is 25. Now, everyone has to be doubled because it's in both worlds, and then it has to make 50, okay? And then we call it the B world, which makes it 52. But OJ, okay, O is the 15th letter, J is the 10th letter. If we multiply them, it equals to 150. So JoJo, a famous name that we know, equals 300, which is the game of bowling, plus the bowler, okay, of who is in control of the ball. A and B totals 312, which is also one of the worlds of 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Anyways, these totals in vowels, okay, gives me 5 groups, 1.25. That is the difference, okay? It equals to 1.25 days or 30 hours or blah, 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 whatever else I can tell you, okay? The INP, or your IP address, is 9 times 16 equals to the number of hours, okay, that you have in a week. 6 times 24 is 144, and 24 for God. So the actual freedom of time is 120, and that's alphabet. The CUD of the 21st, we're going to 20, I don't know why, CUD, the 21st letter, because I found another one, I must have made a mistake. 1, 2, 3, 4, but there still is 5. But UD, okay, which is 3 and 4, which is another 7, okay. Here's a 7, U and D makes a 7, 21 and 4, also creates 25. The 21st letter is a U, and the 4th letter is a D, makes 25, right? But the U is the 21st letter. 2 and 1 is 3, D is the 4th letter, it creates a 7. So this is a very special one because it makes creation. Thus, if it makes creation, we must put the letter C, okay, for the 7, because the angle of creation is the 4, the number of creation is the C, and it ends up to spell the 2 cuds. of the Mao Mao Mao. And N and S. If you go north and south, you know north and south, N and Z, and the S is actually looking like a 5. East looks like a 3. West looks like creation. West can be also a 3. M can be. There's so many mix-ups. Anyways, LA. The word LA. Okay, it means to go. And now here's to break up how different worlds live. We all have to understand whatever world you are in or whatever world you are not in, your angle has to go in the other world because we have to see what world they are. This is the world of 20. The center gets counted in the total, but we leave it out because the pin goes in there and it goes around. It's here and here. It's here and here. It's not the corners in this world. Okay? This one is the 4 corners. But in totality, we can use 25 in the whole thing. Equals to 225. But 25 and all of this equals 225. 225, double it, equals 450, which is a day plus a 90 degree, a day and a quarter. That's the 30 hours. 225, okay, is 9 times 25 equals 225. I just want to do this. 225 is 45, or 450 is 360 degrees plus 90 degrees equals 30 hours. 90 degrees, 140 divided by 4, 6 hours. 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 6 hours, 6 hours, 6 hours, 30 hours, exactly. Everything matches, my friend. Throw out that clock. If you want to have a clock in your house, put the Monopoly game over it. Every time it comes to a certain hour, you say, hey, this is where we are in Monopoly. Why don't we play Monopoly by the clock? Before anything starts, you have to choose the time you want to make your move. Anyways, to miss that, we spoke about the teardrop or a tear, because it's spelled the same way. Tear, okay? Take off the T. It's the ear. It could be the liner. You know the black holes, I'm going to get back to this, but the black holes we see might be flipped inside. Here's the skin. Okay, what happens is when something comes from the outside, it squeezes in through here until this build is folded. Okay? And then it can either turn out this way or the bill comes out, and when it opens up this way. You see the way you can barely see the bill this way, but at the minute it comes on a certain angle, you start to see the bill, and then you start to lose the bill. So some of the angles of breaking in and out, it's just a turn of the skin. Another way of turning out is it onside the skin. You know the way you get a pimple and stuff? Okay? What happens is the skin creates over itself, okay? And it does this, and it forms, and it surrounds it, and it turns in like this. It turns in like this and puts it on the other side and accepts it. The other way, okay, is it's on the film on the outside. It'll build a pimple on it on both sides, okay? Just like the butterfly. And then at the end, instead of it being on that side, once you have the pimple, right, it comes out on this side. Just like the pimples on our skin and on our faces. Whatever we have in us, on us, around us, okay, it's the same thing. Before I let you go on this, just the word o'clock comes out to 633632, which means passage of creation, creation of man. 995, I and I, passage, the rabbit hole. 23, beta creation, and then 5 and 9. 5 and 9, remember, they're the reflection of each other and the same odds in the game of craps. You must look at the games in order to understand. We cannot focus just on what the Torah, the Bible, or what anything else wrote. It doesn't work that way. God wants to know how far you're going to expand your mind. God will let you expand your mind. Understand yourself. Understand the direction. Do you understand the directives? Understand the reasons. If you do not understand all the reasons, that means you can expand, okay, only on the basis of the understanding is you know God can let you go a little bit further. If God didn't let you go a little bit further, why did you buy a lottery ticket? Why did you beep your horn at that guy? Why did you go to the casino? Why did you scream at your wife? These are all parts of extending yourself, okay? If you need to look outside the Bible, you're never looking outside the Bible because everything you're going to base your vision on is in the Bible. So that's fine. That's fine. But if you don't look outside the Bible, you will not understand God didn't put everything in the Bible. He purposely didn't. If he would have put everything in the Bible, we would have found it already. He made us just go outside the circle. Don't be afraid. Okay? Don't be afraid. How can David come home to Jerusalem when man is still inside the same Bible? It's not that I'm saying the Ten Commandments are wrong. Okay? I'm just saying God wants you to be open to the world, to love one and all. And if you're only looking into your own face and your own thoughts, I mean, by looking into other people's visions, not losing time in your own, I don't care what anybody says, you can understand, boy, is that stupid? Or you can say, oh my God, that makes sense. You cannot look into somebody else. It's like reading a book. Somebody else's life and religion is like reading a book. Understand theirs, you'll understand yours better. Raphael 7286. I thank you. Oh, yes. The only two things I really want in this world is to own my own mountain and bring liberty and prosperous times and the understanding of what the word means, how many people should be on earth, why, what does God really mean, and maybe he must say to us, make as many babies as you can because we're going to be opening up the light to a new planet in the future. And what's the funny thing about this? My whole thing that I talk about was basically about these three cards, 5, 8, and 1. The 5 and the 1 both have one center, right? But the God plays no rule in your world. You're his rule. You see the way the two dots on the enter are too small? There's more small dots on this card than there is one center dot because they speak for him. In all actuality, there's 5 numbers on the 1, okay? On the 5, there are 7 numbers, and on the 8, there are 10 numbers. We just don't see them. Not regarding two sides of the card. Raphael 7286.